Hello, my name is Ravneet Sandhu. I would like to begin my presentation with the acknowledgement of the country. I would like to acknowledge and pay my respect to the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander as the first people of Australia and their rich culture heritage. I am on the land of Bunurong people. I would like to acknowledge the Bunurong people of the Kulin Nation as the traditional custodian of this land. I pay my respect to the ancestors and elders, past, present, and emerging, who care for the country, the skies, the waterways, the culture, as together we walk gently on this land. Through this video, I want to share my experience after listening to the story of Stolen Generation of Auntie Rita Wenberg as my reference. In this unit material, I have learned about story listening from Dadiri by Miriam Rose in 1988, Miriam Rose Foundation. In my understanding, listening is about being aware and fully present in the current moment. Dadiri is a practice of deep listening with not only ears but also using all your senses. It connects us with our inner selves and surrounding. It helps us to develop trust and respect with both storyteller and story listener. According to Miriam Rose, stories should be sink quietly into your minds and we hold them deep inside. We should practice listening with patience, not to hurry things, wait, and then act. Do not interrupt storyteller. From Dadiri, I have learned respectful, inclusive in communication with different backgrounds and cultures, and non-judgmental perspective. In Pedagogy of Listening by Carlina Rinaldi, 2011, also emphasized on deep awareness and internal listening that encourages us to listen to others. Means who listen to inner self can listen to the outer world in more better way. Listening requires silence. It evokes emotions. Means we start recognizing to value others' point of view as it changes our way of thinking. We reflect on what we have listened and understand, and we should have courage to share, agree or not agree with the storyteller. Through this, I have learned cultural differences expand our perspectives. After deep listening to the story, my current understanding changed. For example, some children do not share or express because of cultural norms or shy nature or can be any reason. Here I am using reference of listening to the children in the video, learning about children's family culture in session 3 by Tanya Moore Head, professor of special education, says no eye contact is a sign of respect in some cultures. As educator, we can only find out such reasons by listening and paying attention to families and build trustworthy relationship. Active listening is important here. By showing curiosity and empathy, children and their family feel heard and valued, and slowly children start sharing their concern as they feel comfortable. In my understanding, bias assumptions such as viewing indigenous culture as backward and primitive, racial stereotypes as labeling them as uncivilized or inferior and treating them as problems to be solved as their children taken away from their family and culture to make them civilized and learn their language and lifestyle. The emotional moment I've listened which burst me into tears was the physical abuse done on 3-year-old child who was taken away from parents and know nothing about outside world and hit and punished by strangers almost every day for many years. She thought she thought that abuse is a natural thing and it is life. It's sad how a young child suffer from emotional trauma by physical and verbal abuse and no information was provided about her family and identity. fear, and hate shapes her behavior and leaves long-term impact on her, as she never trusts anybody throughout her whole life. Her story reminds me my grandfather, who lost his mother in India-Pakistan partition at very young age. His father married again and his stepmother used to beat him and being rude to him. He never accepted her as he never feel valued and respected by her. Emotional isolation made him silent for many years and he always missed his real mother his whole life until his dying bed. We grew up listening to these stories from grandmothers, and I can relate both having feeling of something missing and long-term psychological impact of childhood trauma. Story listening is very important to provide inclusive teaching practices. It strengthens listening skills and broaden educator viewpoint and influences understanding about diversity and inclusion. It also helps educators to understand bias and assumptions and expand their cultural knowledge. It enhances empathy and interaction towards children and families and makes stronger relationships. In my future practices, I will implement story listening for my deeper understanding about the concern of all children from diverse background and children who suffer from trauma and for any reasons. Always be patient and attentive to listen. Give time to their beliefs. Give time to listen to their beliefs, thoughts, and problems. Discuss with your team or colleagues to find out strategies which helps them to feel loved, supported, and valued. I will implement generative listening, one from the four levels of listening by Otto Scammer in session 4, which is focused on improving on the present. It empowers my ability to stand up for bias and stereotypes and ensure every child will get emotional and social support. Treating equal is a right of every child. Provide equal opportunity without any discrimination. Develop an environment where they feel comfortable through enough to express their stories with you. Interactive teaching method. Encourage active listening from both children and educator. Thank you.